Episode 469. Time was running out, yet the two chosen sacrifices began to cause trouble under the envious gazes of the crowd. In online games, being a mole is far less dangerous than in the real world, but aside from a few thrill seekers, not many people actually enjoy the job. Being a mole means befriending someone, only to betray them later. No matter the cause, that's just how it works. The two players who had received their orders happened to be in the same flanking team. Since the left and right teams were taking turns to engage the enemy, being in the same squad allowed them to coordinate their sabotage perfectly. This team was hacking away at the Guardian Demon's back. The two players confirmed their orders and, without hesitation, immediately began doing exactly what Ye Shu had forbidden them to do. The first step was to cross the line Ye Shu had forbidden them from passing. And then, under the watchful eyes of all the spies, two rapid system prompts chimed, and two guild messages immediately flashed into the guild channel's information bar. Player Dio Weisheng has been expelled from the guild by Guildmaster Lord Grimm. Player Kung Grun has been expelled from the guild by Guildmaster Lord Grimm. The undercover agents who had been putting on a show were all caught off guard, their coordinated attacks nearly freezing in place. Lord Grimm's decision was just too swift and decisive. Dio Weisheng and Qingrun had barely edged past Lord Grimm's position line by a single body length. Without even asking a question, Lord Grimm kicked them straight out of the guild. Only guild members could challenge the guardian deity. Getting kicked out on the spot ejected them from the dungeon. They didn't die, but in the end, all their effort and sacrifice were for nothing. The undercover agents finally managed to pull themselves together and immediately reported the situation up the chain. Blue River could hear the QQ notification sounds from the discussion group going absolutely wild. The debate seemed even more heated than before.
There's no time.
Blue River thought to himself. The guardian demon god didn't have much life left at all. Blue River could see it clearly, and how could the others not? The guardian demon would fall in moments, and they had no way to stop it.
Should we stop?
Private messages flew once more. Some players had already slowed their attacks to a crawl, a pace so deliberate it was starting to raise eyebrows. No. Blue River, however, was resolute at this moment, promptly stopping the actions of these two players from his own guild. It's pointless, Blue River said. Kicking the troublemakers out of the guild would solve everything, and everyone knew it. They just hadn't expected Lord Grimm to be so decisive. They figured that if anything unexpected happened, Lord Grimm would have to stop and talk things out. The two of them could just use that chance to cause as much trouble as possible. Who would have thought they'd get kicked from the guild the moment they made a mistake? It was completely unexpected. In that case, even if they pick another sacrifice, they'll just get kicked out just as decisively. The guardian demon's remaining health didn't even need this many helpers. After all, the Happy Guild still had 4 of its own core members fighting. Grinding down the guardian demon's last sliver of health wouldn't be a problem. As for Blue River, his complete loss of hope at the final moment had a deeper reason. He suspected Lord Grimm's side could be so resolute and decisive precisely because they'd already seen through their treacherous intentions. The sudden influx of high-level members was suspicious from the start. We were just trying to clear the air by pretending to be newbies and orchestrating a wipeout, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But who could have guessed that their coordination would be so flawless, their preparations so meticulous down to the last detail, and yet so straightforward? It made it nearly impossible for the undercover agents to even fake a mistake. Take Dio Weisheng and Qingrun, for example. They were the first to be kicked out of the guild. But even if they had rushed out, what kind of chaos could they have really caused? Could they really have disrupted the current situation? No one had any confidence in that. Now, they no longer need to hold anything back. The guardian demon god fought to his last breath, and finally, after a bout of maniacal laughter, knelt and prostrated himself on the ground. The goal of challenging a guardian demon isn't to kill it, but to subdue it. From that moment on, this demon god became the Happy Guild's guardian deity. Once a guild reaches level 10, the guardian demon god will grow restless and challenge its authority. At that point, the guild must face the challenge of the now level 2 demon god once more. Amidst the demon god's maniacal laughter, a system message flashed across the world and the Happy Guild's channel, naturally congratulating the Happy Guild on successfully challenging the demon god and thereby obtaining the guardian's blessing. The guild channel was a riot of celebration. After learning what this guardian's power could do, players of every class had already started figuring out how to use those precious free attribute points. Others, however, looked at their extra free points with caution, reluctant to use them just yet, and setting them aside for the time being. Others, however, were overjoyed and used their hard-earned free attribute points right away, brimming with confidence. And what about Blue River and the others? They were utterly miserable inside, yet had to put on a happy face. And they were the ones who had participated in the challenge against the guardian demon god. They should have been even more excited. These spies had to put on an act from day one in the Happy Guild, feigning emotions completely opposite to their true feelings. It's a good thing this is just a game. If it were real-life surveillance footage, they'd have been exposed in an instant.
Guild leader, what happened with those 2 people who just got kicked out? I think I saw it was someone from your team.
And at that moment, someone suddenly spoke up, asking this very question. The moment those words were spoken, many in the crowd shared the same confusion, but the group of moles among them froze in unison. How, thinking back on it now, Lord Grimm kicked those guys out with such speed, such decisiveness, and such finality? Could he have seen through their act from the very beginning? If he'd seen through those 2 from the start, then the rest of them who'd come in together wouldn't look so clean either. The only difference was, at that critical moment, those 2 guys' actions gave them away even more. As for the rest of them, while they hadn't exactly been saints either, at least they'd played the whole match through to the end. Had Lord Grimm noticed, or not? Everyone felt a wave of unease. Those 2 might have failed their mission, but their more extreme and outrageous actions could have been a way to dispel Lord Grimm's suspicions. So now, the undercover agents started chatting privately again. From the very beginning, their main goal was to get themselves killed on purpose. Making the challenge against the demon god fail was actually a secondary objective. Their main goal was simply to use this method to feign a more inexperienced identity, thereby dispelling any suspicion that might arise from them all rushing in at once. But in the heat of battle, these guys got their priorities all mixed up. With Ye Shu and Su Mucheng's ferocious playstyle leaving them no room for error, they still went out of their way to force mistakes. That's a fighting philosophy with losing as its primary goal. Once the fight was over, the heat of the moment faded. Then, someone raised that question. As everyone thought about their own identities and the decisions they'd made, it was like a bucket of cold water had been dumped over their heads. In an instant, they were all wide awake.